Today on In the Woodyard, you're going to see the Blockbuster, the all-new Blockbuster that is, the 15+, HP high performance with the diesel engine. This thing is unbelievable. I love the little 12+ that we had for many months. We did a lot of wood with it, but this thing crushes it. It's unbelievable. This speed, the power, everything about this thing, I absolutely love it. I have got to tell you, out of all the machines I've run, and I've run lots of processors over the years at all the trade shows I've been at, ones I've run at other people's wood yards, ones I've tried out when I've gone to different conventions, things like that. This is my favorite. It's the easiest to run. It's simple, it's fast, it's powerful, it's affordable, it's towable, it's movable. This is, to me, the ideal machine for someone who wants to produce firewood on a bigger scale and can take it places and can make a lot of wood fast. This thing is incredible. I don't even know how to describe it. I've run real big machines, you know, machines that are $150,000, $200,000 machines. This thing's almost as fast. And it's reasonably priced. It's well under $70,000 for this thing. It's just incredible. The positive stop it's got, the last cut tray, the speed of the ram, the speed of the cut, the diesel engine that's on there. It's a Doosan diesel. It's unbelievable. This thing's cool. Today on In the Woodyard, it's another Blockbuster day. We're going to be running the 20+ HP firewood processor. Now, I ran it yesterday for a little while, and then it started raining. Well, it rained during the night a lot last night. We got a bunch of rain, and it's pretty nice out right now. It's only about 65 degrees overcast. It's supposed to be really nice like this all day until about 4 o'clock. So I got about 4 or 5 hours now that I can work before the rain's coming again. So I want to get some stuff done. So yesterday we ran the 12-way wedge, which you can see right here, the 12-way wedge is in there. And I am going to pull it out. And the reason I'm pulling it out is that I ran a little bit, they wanted me to. What I found is that when you're cutting, the wedge tends to ride up and it gets a little higher if you're not running the same size wood. But today I'm going to be running small stuff, big stuff, like a lot of different sizes. And I found that the 8-way wedge seems to work the best overall if you're running all different size wood, because you can adjust it easier. If I was using the 12-way, I'd want to run the similar size wood all day, meaning like 10 to 12 inch stuff is perfect for that. But today I'm going to be running all different sizes. I'm not going to select out the good stuff like I did yesterday. So I'm going to pull it out. We're going to put the 8-way in, and then we're going to be running it. So also I took off this chain that goes across right here so it's easier to reach in, because I got the chain on the other side. And the reason I'm going to do that is they changed their brace system. They've got a single leg underneath here, you can see, because they used to have just a single leg on one side, but now they've got it in the middle there. So it centers itself way better, and it's more stable than what they had before. So that's a nice improvement. I really like that. And so that's what's going to happen. So Mike is over there. You can hear him cutting. You can see he's got his little thing. He's cutting some oak over there right now. He came to do some work, and I'm going to get to work now. So we're going to pull this wedge out, swap it out for the 8-way, and then we're going to fire up the beast and do some splitting. So yesterday I pulled out the bump stop here. So this is the rail that goes in. That is the mount for the actual stop, which you just pull this pin and you take it off, and that's all you got to do. So I got the clevis on, going to bring the tractor over here, we're going to lift it out and swap it out for the 8-way, which is right over there. So that's what's going to happen right now. Oh, there you go.
Now you're up against the wood. There you go.
I got it. Because I can pick it up. It's just easier just to kind of scooch it over. Because it's heavy, but it ain't like undoable. There it is. Wedges in place. We got the push plate for the depth of the cut, or the length of the cut for the 16 inches. I got that put back in place, and all we got to do now is load the live deck, and then we can start it. I'm going to start it up right now, and actually I do that right now. There we go. We'll start her up. So you turn it just like a tractor or any kind of other diesel. Turn it till this light goes away for the warm-up. There it is. Good to go. And just let it idle for a while. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna load the live deck. I'm gonna show you a little trick here. My brother Ken taught me. So when you got a grapple on, you can grab a piece of wood like that, and then you can push this into a pile. I've shown this before, but all you gotta do is just kind of pinch it like that, and then you can use it as a straight edge, basically. I'm gonna push this stuff over there because this is the pile I wanna take from all this stuff. I'm gonna eat into this a little bit, and then we'll just kind of pick both sides, kind of get this back a little bit. That's the plan. I'm gonna start here and then go from there. So as you can see here, this is all hard maple. Here's hard maple, a lot of hard maple, but right here is a piece of ironwood. That's what it looks like, ironwood, also known as hornbeam. And that's typical of the size you're gonna get because it's an understory tree that grows underneath all of the oaks and the maples, and it grows slow, so it doesn't get to the top. It doesn't get real high, probably no more than, I don't know, 30, 40 feet, whereas these will get, you know, 60, 70, 80 feet. Right here, this one right here looks like a piece of elm, I think. What is this? This is something different here. Yeah, I think this is elm. That's what it looks like, a piece of elm right there, which is okay, no big deal. And I see that down inside of there, there's some ash. But I'll pick through, I'll put just the ironwood and the hard maple. Here's another piece of ironwood, another piece of ironwood, another piece of ironwood right here. You see the difference? And yeah, and then there's some ash in the back there, which I shorted. Another piece of ironwood right here. That's a good size one right there. They don't get super big. This is probably like a 9-incher. If you find a ironwood that's a foot to 14 inches, that's a big one. Biggest I ever saw, there was one that was maybe 18 inches or so. That was a monster. They generally don't get that big. And the reason they don't get that big is when you find them in log piles like this, when they go through and clear cut an area, your oaks and your hard maples, your ash, stuff like that, when it's mature and it gets harvested, the ironwood is always understory, so it never really gets much bigger than about that. And it's very dense, hard, hot burning wood. It is the highest BTU wood we have here in our state. It's 29 million BTUs versus like hard maple and red oak and white oak, which is like 24-ish. So a little bit warmer. And then above that, above the oak, you've got locust, which is like 26, 27. Hickory is also 27, something like that. So very good wood. So time to get to work. Also, I want to show you this picaroon that I got from Wolf Ridge when I was at their open house. It is a made in the USA picaroon. It is a council tool, which is really cool. Made in the USA, look at that, 25. And this is the council tool logo right here. And what's neat about this is it's a picaroon. It's got this cutting edge right here. So if you're limbing trees and you got your picaroon for going into chunks of wood and carrying it and you miss a limb, it's got this edge right here so you can whack it off. Well, chop it off, cut it off. That didn't sound right. You can give it a whack and cut it. That's what I wanted to say. So pretty cool. So we're gonna keep this with the processor. This will be the processor picaroon here, so pretty cool. So thanks, Bob. I like it. I like it a lot.
Okay, so before I get started, I'm going to put some fuel in, and this diesel fuel. And if you look here in the sight window, right there is where it's at. So it's not terrible. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of tape right at the top there. Then I'm going to fill it up, and we'll put another piece of tape. And that will know how much 5-gallon increments are. I would use a Sharpie, but I don't have one. So I got some black electrical tape. We're going to wrap around it here, and then wherever it fills to. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So right now, that's how much is in there, the top of this. There we go. A lot of guys are going to say, oh, how come you use jugs? Why don't you get a caddy and a pump and all this kind of stuff? Well, the reason is because I don't use that much fuel. This will be just fine. At least I'll be able to tip it up almost all the way, I think, here, so that's a good thing. There's a lot of machines you can't get to the fuel fill very easily, and you end up not being able to get all your gas or diesel fuel dumped in because the placement of the nozzle to the cap where the fuel fill is. But this one I can tip up pretty good here, so I should be able to get most all of it in. There we go. That's pretty much got it. I'll bring you up closer, but I'm going to put a piece on right away. Okay, so there you can see it. From the top of this one to the top of this one, that's 5 gallons. So in other words, we'd have probably 1 gallon, 5, 10, 15, 20. So that's maybe a 25-gallon tank. So that's about what it would fit. Yeah, because there's space on top. But there you go. Those 2 marks will be good enough for me to tell. And eventually, if I fill it all the way up, I can put another piece of tape up here. It would probably be, let's just see if that's from there to there. Yeah, it's going to be right to the bottom here. So the distance from here to here is the same from here to here. So that's 5 gallons, that's 5 gallons, and then probably that's 5 gallons. So there you go. Now we can finally do some work. that, there's a load of wood in there. That went very well. I had a lot of nasty pieces. There was a lot of dog leg, snaky bananas. And what happens is when you've got crooked ones and you've got a double row, because I did base layer and then another one on top because I wanted to just be able to keep going. What happens is those crooked ones will fall in and then they start to swing out on you, and then you get one sideways in there and it won't let another one fall, and then sometimes 2 or 3 fall. It just creates a mess. I should have just did a single row like I usually do. It's faster. You know, if you got a second person, they can, you know, fix it for you, you know, pull pieces out, reach in with the grapple and pull it out. But if you do a double row on a short live deck like this, you don't have a lot of room to play. It's better off keeping a single row, keeping it easy. So I made problems for myself. But what happened with those crooked ones, you get sneaky ones like, well, I'll see if I can find one here. There's a little bit of a crooked one there. Here's one right here. You can see the dip in it, and then it snakes and comes down this way. Right here's a real snaky one. Little ones are the worst too. There's little ones like this, because it's got to curve this way and then down. And what happens is it'll get caught into another log and it'll progress into the trough. It'll fall in with another log, but only half of it. So then you try to advance it, the whole pile will turn on you. Processors like good wood. It's just all there is to it. So other than that, it went really good. So what happens is when you get those ones that go in there and they go crooked, you get a dog leg that will hang down here. So then this is going to cut crooked, and what happens is you get a what I call a steel cut at an angle. It's crooked. It won't go in true. What happens is you got to flip it around. So you put the crooked end of the log into the wedge first, so it bites, and then in the flat part back here on the push plate. Because if you put it back there, what'll happen is the thing will kick out on you a lot of times. You're going sideways and you just crush it, so you don't want that. But with all that being said, this is working out excellent. I like it. It works very nice. What's nice about it is it kind of holds your last cut, so you don't have to really use the tray at all, the retract tray. I used it maybe once or twice. But when you're bringing the pieces in, it works really good there. Everything about this is faster than the 1412, everything. The live deck is faster, the infeed is faster, the clamp and the saw, they work faster, and the saw is way faster. It's like twice as fast. The wedge is faster, maybe not so much coming in, but definitely going back, it's a lot faster. So it just works fantastic. In and out, it works really good. When I'm actually splitting, a lot of times I'll go back in here and I'll pull a piece out and then re-split it just to kind of clear it out to drop the wedge down. So that works really good. So I do like the 8-way a little better than the 12-way just for that purpose. The 12-way requires you to have fairly straight, pretty even wood, and it wants to ride up on you a little bit. Well, this is a little faster to clean out, but I don't have any real big wood in these piles. I mean, you can see a lot of the stuff. There's nothing huge in there, so I really don't need something that's going to knock down that stuff. This is all the debris that we've had right here. So right now I am going to hook up the trailer to the tractor. We're going to go back. We're going to offload this into the bin and then come back and do it again. There we go. There we go. All right, we got everything hooked up. I backed up the trailer. I got the elevator in place, kind of centered it in the bin there because I got 2 sections there. I got that one on this side and the one on that side I can fill, and then we can do the end. Then this bin will be pretty full, so probably 3 trailer loads full, and this will be heaping. We're going to be using the gas generator. I can use the big one, but Bert took it. He's going camping this weekend, so going to be using the gas generator. I just gassed it up, and we're going to make the wood go up and then down. There it is. So I filled in this area here, and then I moved the elevator so it was aiming over this way, just a little farther, and still got room probably for 2 more, maybe not 2 loads. Yeah, 1 load. Yeah, that's about it. That's all it's going to fit, because this, yeah, it's about all I got left to work. All I got room for is about 1 more load. And I'm going to have to do some construction and make another bin or repair my old hard maple bin and move stuff, and then we can go in there again. So Quite a bit of trash in this one. That's all from one load there. So that's all the trash. And I know a lot of people tell me, you should bag that. You should save that. I sell firewood. I don't have time to dig through the scraps. Yeah, someday maybe I'll fill some stuff, some bags, and give it to my good customers. What I've been doing is putting the stuff that can be assembled and wrapped as kindling, the small little shaves there. So there might be a couple bundles right there, and then I threw some in as I was splitting too. So with each load, I might be getting 4 bundles, 5 maybe. So $20 worth extra maybe. But again, it's a lot of extra time. It's just, most of the big producers that I have talked to, guys like Iron Forest Products, they do 500,000 bundles a year. They don't save any of their trash. Guys like Frank's that does a semi-load a day, and that's what they sell. They sell it to bulk to people that are doing reselling. They don't save any of their trash either. It's such a small amount that it just doesn't pay time-wise. If you're burning it yourself, if you had a wood boiler, if you had all the time in the world, yeah, then you could save it. But trying to save a few pennies doesn't make a lot of money. It's just a fact. All right, we're gonna go do another load. that, we got another load. And it's kind of bright over that way to the east, but to the where the sun is setting, that doesn't look good. I just looked at the radar and we're supposed to get pounded. It's coming from the south and west in about 15 minutes. So I think I better call it, because they said lightning, severe lightning, thunder, rain, tornadoes, hail, monsoons, hurricanes, all that stuff. It's coming. But I got a nice load on. I got the tractor hooked up to it. I'm going to leave the tractor out again. I've been leaving it out the last few times that it rained in the evening, because it's getting washed off nice and good, because it hasn't had any rain on it or been washed ever. So I'm going to let it get washed off a little bit. So the dark stuff is coming. I'm done for the day. I'm going home. Tomorrow morning I'll be back 5:30 a.m. You're going to be here. We're going to unload this. I'll see you then in the morning. Good night, Irene.